Hello again. One thing I collect as far as records go is religious records. That's right, religious records. But the ones I collect tend to be really weird. So here today in this video, I'm going to present 10 of the weirdest religious records that I own. Okay, here we go. Starting with Flight, F-I-N-A-L. This is from 1965. There are many different pressings of this, but originally came out in 1965. And basically what this is a dramatization of your final flight, afterlife flight to heaven or hell, wherever it may be you're going. But this is a great, weird record. The band Negativland, found sound, noise band from the 80s. They've used this sampled in some of their stuff. That's how I kind of found out about it. But yeah, Flight, F-I-N-A-L. I think I own about 10 different copies of this, 10 different pressings. So there's one. Moving right along, weird religious records. Check this one out. If footmen tire you, what will horses do? Okay, this is 1968 by a guy named Estrus W. Perkle. There he is right there. This cover is insane. Okay, look at this. You got those guys back there, right? Dance, sex. You got it all. You got it all. Look at those guys. Don't you love it? Okay, so that's just the front cover. If the footmen tire you, what will horses do? Check out the back cover, you guys. Okay, there he is. There's Perkle himself. He's got the Bible. He's pointing his finger at you, and then look what's happening here. Look at the mayhem. And look. Soldier on a horse. Look at that guy. Shot, gore, blood splatter. I mean, this guy, Estes. I mean, he was a character. So anyway, this record, another record that Negativland sampled on some of their material, specifically their song "Christianity is Stupid." I believe he is on. Estes is on here saying that. I guess his quote is "Communism is stupid. Christianity is good." Negativland switched it around. So this one, though, is a pretty rare record. I had a couple of copies of it. I sold one for about $100 on eBay, but I kept this one. That's number 2. Moving on to number 3, weird religious records. Check this one out. And this one is not on Discogs or anywhere that I could find online. Be Something Different. Be a Square. Okay? Live. And this is the United World Council and Pentecostal people of the Apostolic Faith. And what's this guy's name again? There he is. Yeah, Mr. Showell is not on, this album is not on Discogs. So I don't know exactly when it's from. I'm guessing 60s, 70s, but look at the back here. The back is really interesting. No, Johnny, no stupid. One body, don't abuse it. One mind, don't blow it. One soul, save it. This cool? What is going on there? I mean, just the layout, the crazy layout, the graphics, amazing, right? Another weird record for you. Moving on, I gotta tell you, and most of these are pretty weird and graphic, but look at this. Not much graphic going on here, but look what it's called. Satan's Masterpiece, New Fad, Streaking by Brother Mays Jackson. Now, Brother Mays Jackson has put out some other records. I'm guessing this was 1970s, since streaking was a big fad then. Very plain back cover. Nothing interesting going on here, really. But yeah, streaking record, right? And all these religious records, I call them religious records, but they're actually all very Christian records, very specific religion. I haven't really found any weird Buddhist records or Muslim records, but I have found a lot of weird Christian records. Okay, so moving right along. Here we're getting into one of my favorite phases of religious albums, the puppet. The use of the puppet. Do You Know Jesus is the name of this wonderful album. and Uncle Les and his family there, bringing this to you. Uncle Les and Aunt Nancy Wheeler with Randy. There's Randy. There's Randy, you guys. Look into Randy's eyes. Now, if you want to dig this, the back cover, there's more puppets. The puppets don't stop with Randy. Look. Look. Now, I'm guessing this is 70s. Could be late 60s, but I'm thinking that suit he has on right there is 70s as heck. Very 70s looking tie there. I'm thinking 70s. But this, I could not find this on Discogs either. Last three records I've showed you, the B Square record, the Streaking record, and Do You Know Jesus, none of these are listed on Discogs, to my dismay. Here we go. Continuing with the puppet theme, one of my favorite Christian puppet records, Geraldine and Ricky, Trees Talk Too. Yep, that's the name of the album. And there's Geraldine and there's Ricky. Let's zoom on in. Look at Ricky and Geraldine, how happy they look. And how patriotic Ricky looks in his little outfit. So Geraldine and Ricky, Trees Talk Too, right? Now look at what is going on here. There's the family and Ricky in full effect. Look at that. Whoa. Okay, and then you got over here, you got Ricky golfing with Dad, I guess. Right? Amazing. Amazing. And this isn't the only Geraldine and Ricky album I have, but it's the only one I'll show you in this video. Okay? This is just 10 of the weirdest records I have that are religious. Okay? There'll be more. My favorite, this has got to be, Geraldine and Ricky might be my favorite, but you know, this next artist is somebody I collect pretty hardcore, and she has a lot of albums. She was very prolific in her time, and she had a puppet. It's Little Marcy. Now, let me explain to you about Little Marcy. This is Little Marcy. This is some unsuspecting child. Who knows who that is? But this is Little Marcy, and this is Big Marcy. Her name is Marcy Tigner. Now, Marcy Tigner has put out a lot of albums under the name Little Marcy or just simply Marcy. Most of them have this Marcy puppet represented in some way. Now, Miss Tigner, though, has put out records without puppets. She was a trombonist, a Christian trombonist, and she put out a record under the name Marcy Tigner that has her on the cover with a trombone. I'm still looking for it. But I have a huge Little Marcy collection, Marcy Tigner collection, that I will be showing you in another video. But for now, here is my Little Marcy contribution to this video. You can see right there, that's not even all the albums she has out. But we'll get into more Little Marcy in another video. But for this time, this is one of the top 10 weird religious albums for sure. You ready for more? We've got 3 more. Are you ready? Here we go. Now, at first glance, God is so good. Joel Stafford and his band, and you know, you think about this as why is this a weird religious collectible? Why is this even in your hands, Michael Pilmer? Why? Why did you buy this? Well, imagine me being in a thrift store, finding this, looking at the cover, maybe thinking that could be weird. Maybe not thinking at all. But then when I flipped it over, something happened. It became a little more desirable for me to have. Now, Joel Stafford, I don't know if he's put out any more records. Could not find this one on Discogs. But he sounds like he looks. I'm just going to say. He's got the voice that matches his look. And that's another reason that makes this album so desirable and weird. Joel Stafford, the only one I have, the only album I have by Joel Stafford. I'm looking for more. I don't know if they exist, but I want to know. Now, down to the last 2. Now, number 2 of the 10 weirdest records in my religious album collection It was by a man who's all over Discogs. He's got many, many albums to his name. And let me just tell you a little history on this man, Merrill Womack. Merrill Womack was a gospel singer, very good-looking man, all-American, good-looking guy, great voice. He put out at least one album in the early days, in the 60s. I think it was 1960 was his first album. And then something happened in the 60s that changed his life forever. He was involved in a plane accident, just him on the plane. He nearly died, but he definitely burned his face off. But he kept putting out records, and he kept putting out a lot of records, and most of the records, 95% of the records, had his burned face on the cover. And here's one of them. Now here's one, Merrill Womack, Feeling Good. And he's looking good. I mean, for a man who burned his face off. Now this is one of his later records. This is 1986. You know, he started putting out records in the 60s. So let it be known, I have a huge Merrill Womack collection. I'm going to say I have the biggest Merrill Womack collection in the world. I talked to him on the phone back in the day. I've got stories about that. But I will have a Merrill Womack specific video one day because I have so many records of his. So there it is. You don't have a weird religious record collection unless you have a Merrill Womack in it. Okay? Now, for the number one, my favorite weird religious record that I own. And let me tell you a little story about this. I was in a thrift store, I'm going to say a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, doing my thing. I just stopped in because I was running some errands and I needed to get some things. And so thrift store is right near where my errands were being run. So I dipped in there really quick, flipped through what usually is not much to look at in the store. And I find this record, right? And okay, just let me tell you right now before I show you this record. I found this record, and then as I flipped a few more records, I found another one of the same record, and then I found another one, 3. I found 3 of these at the same store at the same time, all in fantastic condition. And let's get into this number one weird religious record from my collection. It's Jesus Use Me by this guy, Little Richard Miller, born without arms and legs. And there he is. He's sitting at his piano with his Richard Miller tour bus in the background. Okay? Jesus Use Me. Now, there are other religious records with this title, Jesus Use Me. And some of them do have pretty weird covers. But this, my friends, hands down, my favorite Jesus Use Me album that I know exists. Let's look at the back. Oh yeah, it gets better. There he is, Richard Miller, with his guitar, or whatever that is, and his backup band, right? And if you look down here, you guys get yourself on Discogs or wherever you need to go to read this right here. This is all about Little Richard and his tour bus and how his tour bus is customized for him. And yeah, he's got more than one record out. And I've got more than one Little Richard Miller record. And I'll show it to you some other time. But let me just say, of the 3 records, here's another one. Of the 3 I found that day, all in amazing condition, still in their shrink wrap, I sold one on eBay for $100, but I can't let these go. I've got to have these. They're such weird religious records. So until next time, keep collecting vinyl and keep letting me buy all the weird religious records, okay? Till next time, may the rock and roll gods bless you. Bye.